All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Teardown. My name is Jeff Gluck, along with Jordan Bianchi. We are motorsports writers for The Athletic, and we're here at Phoenix Raceway to have a conversation about what we have just witnessed here on this whole weekend, the NASCAR Championship weekend at Phoenix Raceway. And
Yes,
boy,
Jeff.
this is going to be an interesting episode, isn't it?
You just want to get to the meat of it, or
What's the meat of it? Where do we even start here? I mean, look at the comments already going freaking berserk.
let's just do it. Let's just get to it. Let's just roll right into it. Let's get the elephant in the room on the.
Well, what's the biggest takeaway here?
The biggest takeaway today is Denny Hamlin not winning the championship, and what may be his last best shot at winning a championship in a race that he dominated in, and Kyle Larson is now a deserving 2025 Cup Series champion. The overriding big picture story of the weekend, and really maybe even the season to some degree, is the playoff format, which everyone's been talking about all year long. We talked about it the season, the opening Daytona 500 back in February, and it's been the topic du jour all year, and it really kind of bubbled up this weekend. First in the Truck Series race, obviously yesterday in the Xfinity Series race, and though I will say, and to a lesser degree today.
You're a playoff proponent. Are you happy with the emotions that you felt the last couple of days here at the racetrack?
It's tough. Like today, we had a deserving champion in Kyle Larson. I mean, we talk a lot about statistics and numbers and old points format. Like Denny was second to Kyle in many, many statistical categories, major statistical categories. Obviously, Denny had more wins, but even points, Kyle outpointed Denny Hamlin. I have no problem. I have no issue with how the championship was decided today.
You have no issue with how the championship was decided today?
Why? I mean, this is how NASCAR racing is in this era, where it's so much about late race restarts and that when that caution is going to fall and strategy and getting ahead. Yes, Denny Hamlin had the best car today, but again, at the season of the whole, Larson was as good, if not better, than Hamlin in most key statistical categories. Why would today Denny Hamlin not winning the championship take away from Kyle Larson being deserving champion?
Well, wait. I think we're talking about two different things. Kyle Larson ended up the season with the most points of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at the full season points,
Yep.
he is the mythical full season points champion, which I know you don't like to look at that.
95 points ahead of Denny Hamlin.
And that flipped today when William Byron had his issue late in the race. So I don't think anybody's saying that Kyle Larson is not a deserving champion of the season, but you just said you had no issue with how this was decided today. I think a lot of people have an issue with how this race went down and how the championship was decided today.
Why? What was the issue?
Well, you had, and you're talking about the lights are the brightest type of moment. You had Denny Hamlin showed up, won the pole position, drove an absolutely flawless race.
Absolutely.
Led over 200 laps. The next closest was only 52 laps. And he was 3 miles away from finally winning the title. Somebody else causes a caution. Caution comes out. Now you can argue about the pit call. He took 4 tires. A bunch of cars ahead of them, more than they thought, took 2 tires. So he got jumbled up on the restart. Some cars stayed out. It was a chaotic restart, and he wasn't able to get up there in 2 laps. Loses the title to a driver that goes on TV and says, by the way, I didn't lead a lap today, and hasn't won since May, by the way. Now, again, but I think that Kyle Larson absolutely has a case to be made for the champion of the season. But you're talking about this race today. I think it is, you set up this whole thing about a one race playoff, and you say, we want to see these guys perform. Denny Hamlin did perform, and he got it taken away, not by his own doing. And so it's tough to feel good about that, I think, Jordan.
I hear what you're saying, and there's elements of that I agree with. But whether it's a playoff format, a one-race playoff format, a chase format, even a season-long format, there are going to be things in races that happen. Today was anything unusual. We see this all the time in NASCAR, where something will happen at the end of a race, a driver who's dominated ends up getting shuffled back. And whether this is a one-race format, whether this would have been an old-school championship format, this would have been a race that, because of where the caution fell, would have jumbled things up. And we have seen that before. So,
Jordan, this is okay. This is the point, though. This is the point that is trying to be made all season, right? This is why a bigger sample size needs to be.
And I'm fine with a bigger sample size. I am fine. I'm a proponent of the 3-3-4. I'm even on now. If you want to go to a chase, which I think that's the direction things are headed, I'm okay with that. But even if there was a larger sample size, what was the 10? I would like to. I don't have the breakdown in front of me. I wish I did. What was the 10 race breakdown for the playoffs in terms of points? That would be a great thing to see.
Oh, you mean who scored the most points?
Points. We don't have that. Yeah, I don't have the front. So that's a great piece of information we don't have in front of us, but that would be something to see. So I'm fine with that. If you want to get rid of the one race thing for various reasons, that's fine. I get that. But the playoffs as a whole need to stay. And to go back to the old 36 race format, I disagree with that. There needs to be a playoff format of some degree, of some level in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Because why?
It is more entertaining. It is better storylines. It produces the kind of racing you want to see at this time of year. It does not produce guys just saying, hey, I'm going to finish 8th and race for championship. You do see gambles. You see guys going for it. It does increase drama. It does increase storylines. It increases an interest level in the sport. And if you go away from it, you run the risk. I had a conversation today with a longtime reporter who's been around, and they even said to me, you don't know what it was like to write about this sport and cover this sport and to be in this sport on a day-to-day basis when there was a season-long championship. It was awful. It was boring. The sport lacked storylines, and many, many times the championship was decided well in advance. In a day and age where NASCAR has more competition for eyeballs, there are more sports prevalent than ever before. You need to do everything you can to put yourself in the best position possible to get the most attention and the most fans. Going to a format where it could literally be decided weeks in advance, that's not advantageous.
I'd rather have it decided 10 weeks in advance than go through what we've gone through the last couple of days where you see how the championship is decided and you go, I don't feel so good about that. Last night, for instance, I was walking out of the track and going through the tunnel from the press box, underneath the track to the fan zone. It was quiet. People just were numb. And I think a lot of fans cheering certainly after today's race for Larson, and the 5 teams comeback is a great story that we'll certainly get into, and really an unbelievable, gritty performance by them all year, and
indicative of how they won the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't take anything away from them. But I don't think that you want to get to the end of a championship and have any sort of these feelings. When I'm looking on social media and I'm seeing even Larson fans go, man, I feel bad for it. I don't like that. Doesn't feel good to me. NASCAR needs a format, whatever it is, where everybody comes to the end of the season and go, well, that person deserved it. That's the most important thing. That is more important than entertainment.
But you agreed, though. You even said Kyle Larson is a deserving champion. So Kyle Larson did deserve it.
Sure. But
you just said he didn't deserve it. So we did have a deserving champion today.
He's a deserving champion of the season. But the way that this race went today, he didn't even win he didn't win the race. So to say that, oh man, he was the deserving winner of today. It's not like he went out and won the race. He was able to get a great strategy and a late restart and overcome being a lap down. And hey, that's great.
But how is that much different than in the old season-long championship? A driver goes into the final race and needs to finish 15th.
Because they would have had 35 other races to get to that point. And if it happened to be close, that was because it's close. And so you don't say, well, you could have said, well, they had 35 other races to do it. This was one race, one moment, 2 laps or 3 laps, whatever.
But even under the old format, Kyle Larson still would have been the champion, and Denny Hamlin wouldn't have been.
Right. That's why we're not questioning Kyle.
So
Larson
I agree that I am all for changing the format. Like I'm fine getting away from the one race format. Like it doesn't really serve the purpose that it was intended anymore. It feels like it's shifted away from that. There's too much consternation. It seems like every year we're having the same conversation about deserve it this, deserve it that. Fine, but I think you do need to keep the playoffs. I think the 10 race chase is the best way to go if you're trying to get the best of both worlds. If you're trying to get the the beauty of the season-long championship, and that's great, but you still want the playoff drama and everything that it brings at. The best way to probably do that is a 10-race chase, which would accomplish your goal.
I would take that over this, certainly, but I still think that, I mean, the whatever the format needs to be, it's just, again, like, I think everybody's really exhausted of this conversation at this point.
Absolutely.
I was hoping that the whole playoff conversation could be avoided in this episode, and we could talk about this going into the offseason. Oh, what are they going to decide? Well, the last two nights, and honestly, frankly, even Friday night with the Truck Series, this was an issue all 3 nights. And it was sort of, it's actually sort of fitting that we knew this was the end of this playoff format. And to me, there was nothing redeeming about this weekend that gave you any hint of like, you know what, should we really get rid of that? Should we really get rid of the one race? Is this any sort of bad idea? Is there any doubts? I think after this, everybody's like, no.
I feel like we crossed that bridge a while ago, though. Like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is this could have, one of these races or like today's race could have been so epic that you go, man, actually that was pretty good. Like that felt pretty good to everybody. Like maybe this was worthy. Maybe we're being too hasty. Maybe it was just Penske and the Logano thing. Maybe that's what made everybody do it. And instead, I think you get to the end of tonight and you're like, wow, this is not good for NASCAR. And here's the thing. Let's just remember, everybody. I know people are going to disagree with Jordan, just like they even disagree with Mamba. But I just do want to say, in their defense, they care about the sport. I care about the sport. Everybody is doing they're all saying what they think is right for NASCAR. It's just a differing opinion on how to get there. I don't want that to get lost because the vitriol that we've seen throughout even this weekend is so intense right now with everybody trying to make I think it's sort of like the last argument for their case, right? Like people wanted to use this weekend as the last argument for their case. This is the last chance to sway NASCAR one way or the other, and which way are they going to go? And so, what?
Keep going. I can't say.
You're getting texts and
from somebody that I can't say who it is.
Okay,
they're agreeing with you actually.
Okay, well, I just this has nothing to do with Kyle Larson. This has honestly nothing to do with Denny Hamlin. This to me felt like if Jimmy Johnson had not won in 2016 and had been the 7th and been hit the historic title, the Carl 2016 thing would have been. I think you could have seen the outrage that has really bubbled up years later. That could have been earlier, because, like, let's say that had been Logano that actually won that title. Mm-hmm. When Carl wrecked in 2016 with this format, the fact that Jimmy won, it was like, oh my God, it's his 7th. Of course he's the deserving guy. He's won 6. Now it's his 7th, and he just finds a way to get it done. He was the 4th best car that night, and here you had a situation where Larson was either the third or 4th best car. I don't know. Was he the 3rd or 4th best car of the championship contenders tonight?
I mean, I thought he was 2nd or 3rd, depending on.
Byron was outrunning him.
Yeah, but at times,
Hamlin was outrunning him.
So he's 3rd then. I mean,
Briscoe was pretty fast at times. He just kept having flat tires.
But Larson had flat tires too, and they had to play catch up.
Let's say he was the 3rd fastest car. I think this had Carl Edwards vibes, where a late caution, took it away from somebody that seemed to have won the championship. I get that's racing, but I also feel like it doesn't have to be. This doesn't have to be how NASCAR decides a champion, and then it's not going to be. Again, had this been, we're sitting in the same area as last year, right? And there was I was feeling a lot more outraged of how these championships were decided last year. Now I know it's already changing. So I don't feel like, I'm not angry. I'm just like, man, this is just really unfortunate. I feel like it's unfortunate how this all unfolded this weekend because of the way that people just feel about, fans feel about how this all happened. And I think that the industry wants to be able to embrace and celebrate the champion and feel good that this was the accurate, it ended up spinning the wheel and it ended up on the right person. I I completely agree with your argument about Larson. You could absolutely make an argument he had the best season. He had scored the most points, but the way that it happened, it's not going to feel good for a lot of people. Let's be honest.
Sure. And this is just a capper and a season-long conversation that has dominated, it seems like, every single week.
So how does NASCAR get away from this?
I mean, what they're going to do, what you do is first and foremost, you change the playoff format.
But even then,
okay.
Let's say we're sitting here a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still talking about the format?
We are, because it's going to be, you're going to have it to some degree just because it's the first year of the format. And we'll see how it plays out. But if you get what people think you're going to get and you have advocated for, which is there's a lot of parity and, et cetera, and you have a compelling championship race among the season's best drivers over a longer stretch instead of a one race showdown, I think people are going to be like, this is good. This is healthy and encouraging. But I don't think it's going to be a 1 year thing, though. Because if you go back to 2014 and that first couple of years of that format, there was a lot of excitement and energy about this. Man, this is great. People are, rising up and winning in must-win situations. And then 2015, you had Kyle Busch coming back from this big injury that, almost ruined his career, and he wins the championship. And so it felt like, and even Jimmy in 2016 had a really, really good year. He had more wins than Carl Edwards. He had more, he had a really good, consistent year looking at the numbers. He had more top 10s than Carl Edwards, top 5s. And so even the first few years, it felt deserving. And then Truex, right? Truex won in 17, and he had a monster year. So it just, at some point, this flipped. And I don't know when it is. And it's really easy just to point it at Logano and just be like, that guy, they don't like that guy. But I feel like it is Logano, because remember in 18, it was the big three in Logano. And he came in out of nowhere in a year where these three guys won. And that seemed to change the narrative. And then from there, it just kind of kept percolating up every little bit. But it did seem to be a Logano thing, because we didn't have the conversation in 2020 with Elliott. Even in Larson 2021, even though he didn't, he had a dominant year and he won the championship, he wasn't great in this format or this race. He still had a great, playoff in a year. So, and again, Logano won in 22. And it seems to be a thing that it flipped, and it's never been able to kind of reconcile back. And Penske winning 3 straight championships in the manner they did was kind of the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this, actually, about when the attitude sort of changed. First of all, let's be honest, though, and I went back and found my article from 2014 where some people never liked this format,
sure,
including myself. And in fact, we when Kyle Busch did win with the broken leg here and stuff, there was certainly a lot of people going, this is not okay, and all this stuff.
It's never been 100%. But can we just acknowledge too, no playoff format is going to be perfect. There is zero perfect.
So people would listening and say they would say, let's get rid of the playoffs.
But no. When I'm saying I'm sorry. There is no way to determine a points system that is perfect, because you can even pick holes in the old one that was a season long, and that it was not exciting. Guys didn't always. There wasn't an emphasis on winning. It was okay to finish 8th every week, and all of those things. And many times the championship was decided. So there is no perfect system that is out there. And so you have to devise a system that has the fewest holes, if you will. And that we'll see where NASCAR ends up.
What? Sitting here tonight, maybe I'd regret it, because we need stories to write about and we need storylines, but I don't care about exciting and entertaining. I just want something that is super credible, super legitimate, something people feel good about. And you get to the end of the season, you go, man, that person absolutely deserved it. They kicked everybody's butt. Let's celebrate them. Man, great year.
Here's a question for you.
Okay.
So during the Chase era, so 2000, and you started covering NASCAR, what?
2004.
So you were there since the beginning. So the entirety of the Chase era, from 04 to 13, when it was the 10-race Chase, did you ever feel like this wasn't a deserving champion? Or did you ever feel kind of even somewhat like this?
No, I think that everybody, I think it's fair to say, got to the end of those and said, no, that's true. Now, you did have people going, hey, Jeff Gordon would have won this title if it was season long.
Yeah. You're always going to have
stuff like that. But in terms of the Chase, I don't think people got to the end of it. I mean, No, I think that's fair to say. But I am just so sitting here right now, just so like over the whole concept of, because listen, the chase was created to try to boost ratings and make it more exciting and make it more entertaining. I just don't think that concept worked then. The ratings went down that whole time, and then certainly the ratings went down in this format. The legacy of this format is going to be, I don't even know what would the one race format will be. I mean, Logano won 3 titles in this format.
Mm-hmm.
You had some big. This is going to go down as one of the big moments, and then Carl Edwards is going to go down in one of the big moments.
Mm-hmm.
What were the other classic moments of the championship race? He wanted this to be Game 7 moments, right?
Brian France.
Right. What were the Game 7 moments that you got out of having a one race deal? What were they?
Well, I remember in 14, it was like Harvick winning in must-win situations. That always comes to mind.
But in the one race format.
In the one race winner take all.
In the finale. In the Game 7 that he created. What were the famous moments? Larson had a great pit stop
in 21.
1 year.
Yep, 2021.
You had mistakes. You had Denny putting too much tape on the car. Mm-hmm. Truex putting the wrong the tires on the wrong side. Tonight you have he's leading in with 3 laps to go.
But mistakes are always gonna happen regardless.
But there was what was the great moment from this playoff?
17, you had Kyle Busch and Truex racing hard at the end. That was compelling. 18, you had the restart with Logano, and behind him were the big 3 that everybody was talking about, including Truex, who said he wasn't going to win the damn. Looked like Logano wasn't going to win the damn more. Well, they lined up, 1, 2, 3, 4 on that restart at Homestead. That was compelling. I mean,
I'll be honest, I literally don't remember that. I mean, I'm not trying to be. I'm just not trying to make my own point, but I literally do not remember.
Yeah, but
what was the famous moment that we see replayed?
I mean, from this format,
it's 2016, really.
Yeah, Johnson, that's his 7th. Yeah,
but that's it. It was 2 people crashed on the restart from a debris caution or phantom debris caution, and that's what we got out of the Game 7 moment. So we didn't get it was supposed to make more people watch and more people be excited. Instead, less people watched, and the people that did watch feel crappy about it. So what the hell? Why is it so hung up that we have to have a playoff when you could have a 36 race season, which, by the way, the points were very close. And I know you say the point, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. We've been in conversations with drivers. You talk to crew chief, they will tell you the same thing. Listen. No, you're not listening. You literally have people tell you, Jeff. We were in literally a conversation with the driver, and they said this. They have raced differently because of the format. And we had a driver sit there and tell us, because we were locked in the playoffs and because we knew we had wins in our back pocket, we could do all sorts of different things, and we didn't give a damn about points. So you can't sit there hypothetically say, well, this is how it would be. No, you can't, because if it was hypothetical, you have to take into account that everybody's strategy is going to change based on what they know at that time. If they're going to know points matter, not wins. And they're going to change their mindset, especially on road courses, because we see it all the time where it comes to flipping stages. So if people are going to race for points, they're going to be more advantageous for that and not just do gambles or put themselves in a position to try to win races. So you can't just sit there and say, well, hypothetically, this is what the standings are going to look like, because everything would change.
They wouldn't change that much. They would change maybe by
You don't 30, know that. 40, you have no points. Idea. You have no idea. You're guessing.
The standings aren't going to change by 200 points.
I'm not saying it's enough it could be enough to be where it's not that compelling. You don't know what it is. You're basing it on a hypothetical. You don't know this for a fact, period.
Jordan, a bunch of, I think, 4 or 5 drivers, I don't have it in front of me, finished all within a race of points or something. And I don't think that you can't convince me that all 4 of those drivers would have been wildly separated by over 100 when they all were basically clumped together. You may have had 1 or 2 drop out, or maybe the spread was bigger, but they relatively would have been within the same range. Sure, Let's see how it would play out.
You know. It's absolutely, you're right. You know everything. You're right. You know it. You're right. Even though other people say otherwise, who are smarter than us, who actually do this, you're right.
Well, this part of the conversation is reaching end. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin and his legacy. Was this his last best chance to win? I mean, can he has 2 more years. Can he rebound? Can he come back? And, whatever the format is, will he have a chance, or was this it? He says he doesn't even feel like racing again at this point, tongue in cheek, but, what do you think? Like, he's about to turn 45.
Yeah. And that's the thing. This isn't a question about anything else other than age. It's not about commitment. It's not about dedication and want to, and any of those things. Plus he drives for probably, one of the 2 best teams equipped to win a championship going forward in whatever format. It's Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing, and Penske is really going to have a lot of work to do to join that. So he's in a great situation based on all of that thing: work ethic, commitment, team, etc. But what he cannot defeat is father time, and we have seen that time and time again. He's going to be 45, and that is an age when drivers' performance can fall off a cliff in a hurry. Remember when Jimmy Johnson, 2017, won it, coming off a championship year, won at Dover, and I think he had like 3 or 4, he had 5 wins or something right away, right, in that year. And then he never won a race again. You just see that all of the time. Martin Truex Jr. went how many years? Martin Truex Jr. goes from winning the regular season championship and looking dominant to not winning again and not really coming all that close on a consistent basis. You don't know what you're going to do when you get to a certain level of your career, and it can go away. And so we don't know. If Denny Hamlin is the same abilities that he has now as next year, absolutely can come back and win this thing. And he's good at all types of tracks, which is what you need, and that you're going to probably need to some degree in this new hypothetical format, whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I mean, if everything is all things being equal, yes. But the question, Jeff, is can he defeat Father Time for 1 more year?
Well, I mean, obviously he ends the season with the most wins and was this close to winning the championship tonight. So I don't know that 1 more year makes him fall off a cliff or something like that.
But we have seen it, though. You have to admit, like, we have seen drivers, like,
for sure, it happens at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, look at Kyle Busch, right?
I'm still not buying that about Kyle Busch, but a lot of the great drivers just stop winning suddenly. You never
Absolutely.
know. And look, if I was Denny after this, it'd be pretty hard to find, at least right now, the motivation to be like, I got to do this all over again.
Does he walk away?
No, I don't think he does. But I mean, it's a lot of work. The amount of work that we heard that he was putting in behind the scenes to get to this point this year, it is an extreme dedication. You may not. I mean, if you don't even put in, if you put in 90% of that, are you as successful? I mean, it's got to be tough when there's a very, very, very small club of people, Carl Edwards, Connor Zilisch, Denny Hamlin, who knows what it's like to put everything in and be in position to win it, only to just do everything right and just not have it work out. So I don't know. It's got to be pretty tough to come back from that. But we'll see. Obviously it's a lot different for William Byron. He's going to win a championship for sure at some point, multiple championships. He's just getting started in a way. He's still only 27. And what he did at Martinsville was super impressive. And I think we'll see more out of him. I thought he drove a really good race today as well, despite not, he didn't overdrive it. They just weren't fast enough. And Chase Briscoe, I mean, man, he hung in there. Despite
it's like, we talk about guys who like we talked about how this was symbolic of Kyle Larson's season, right? This was like symbolic of Chase Elliott's career, or Chase Briscoe's career, right? Like just one hit after another, and keep coming back. And even at the end, they're like, is he going to steal this somehow? I mean, it's just a remarkable grit, but just it wasn't meant to be.
Ultimately, Jordan, Kyle Larson is a 2-time champion. He joins Joey Logano and Kyle Busch as the active 2-time champions. No surprise that Kyle Larson was going to be a multi-time champion in the sport. And I certainly think, it's only really a matter of how many can he win rather than like, is he going to win anymore? I think, certainly can he get to Tony Stewart? Can he get to Jeff Gordon? I think you could see Larson, and depending on what the format is, you could see Larson end up as a 5-time champ or something.
Probably helps him. Does the format change help him?
Absolutely. It makes it less random.
I was going to say, It feels like for a driver who's playoff. It
helps any of the good guys.
To some degree. I was for Larson particularly, though, is we see with the 5 team, go back to Homestead a year ago, they kind of sometimes have mistakes, self-inflicted mistakes. But they can maybe dial that back a little bit, where Larson is very eager to go for a win, for example, and sometimes that can be to their detriment. If you're going to a format where there's a little bit longer of a runway, it might be more advantageous. Hey, Kyle, we don't need you to go for the win. You can just run 5th tonight, and that's okay. I agree with you. I think it sets up well for them. And when you have a crew chief like Cliff Daniels, who is one of, if not the best in the garage, he's going to have a championship winning formula of what they need to do. I think it sets up really, really well for him. I think he's one of the big winners out of this, honestly.
Well, it was certainly a gritty season for the number 5 team, who had to overcome a lot. They still are in the middle of a 24 race winless streak. I think, ironically enough, they haven't won since May. They did win the championship, but they haven't won the race since May. He obviously noted in his TV interview they didn't lead a lap tonight. And really, I do think that, especially like you look at Cliff Daniels' leadership, just really, really impressive.
So good.
He was talking at Martinsville about how he was able to adjust his leadership style and goes from sort of like the rigidness to, really feeling like he needed to adapt the way he was and not be so set in his ways. And the way that the number 5 team was able to overcome everything. I just think that is sort of the championship effort. And, Cliff Daniels has some of the DNA of the Jimmy Johnson era. Right?
Oh yeah. Like Chad Canals. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that is very Jimmy-esque, right? Mm-hmm. Like what we saw from the 5 team is something we used to see from the 48 team for sure.
And that was the thing that people always talk about Jimmy winning all the time and the greatness and all the things he did. What I don't think they ever got enough credit for was their greatness. They were so many races where they weren't good or something would happen and they'd have to come back. And they did it time and time again. And sometimes it would just be like finishing 8th. I remember a race at Kansas, I think it was like 13 or something like that. And they crashed early. And you're like, man, and this is in that time too, in the cars, like we're real sensitive. And they ended up coming back and you're like, how the hell did they pull that off? They didn't win, but they got like an 8th place finish. It's like they just found a way. They didn't make excuses. We talk about 2016, right? At Homestead when he won the championship. Remember that race, by the way, he started in the back because they had an infraction going through tech. And so they just always found a way. They did not ever make an excuse. If they didn't do their jobs, it was, we messed up, we screwed up, not it was so-and-so's fault, or this guy took us out, or this or that, or whatever. It was, no, we didn't execute. It's very much the same thing with the 5 team. And it defined their championship run in 2021, where they had this great, brilliant regular season, but you go to the playoffs, they had a lot of issues. They were down a lot of times. Talladega, they got a crash. The Roval, they got involved. They had some issues. They ended up having to rally back because at one point in that race at the Roval, they were down and out. And they not only they come back, they end up winning the race and move on. Like this, the thing that defines this team is like they find a way to produce results. They don't make excuses. If they screw up, if Kyle makes a mistake on the racetrack or they make a bad pit call, it's like, we messed up. We could have done better. And that is what the DNA of this team is and why they're so great.
Well, Larson finishes 3rd to win the championship over Denny Hamlin, who finishes 6th. But in terms of the actual race win, Jordan, this whole thing could have gone completely different because we started this whole playoffs talking about Penske. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, they had no cars in the championship. But then, lo and behold, we get here to Phoenix. And, of course, there were some crazy circumstances to make this happen. But a Penske car, Ryan Blaney, does end up winning after all that. Now, I don't know about you, but I did not see the finish until a long time after.
I didn't see the finish until Cliff Daniels' press conference because we walked in here and we were going to record. And I'm like, hey, can we wait a minute? I actually need to see the finish.
Yeah. So because quick behind the scenes here. So let's see, the media center at Phoenix is maybe about a 5-minute walk to pit road.
Yeah, it's not a quick. It's not a quick thing.
Yeah. So if you're going to get out there, you got to leave the media center. We left with maybe 10, 15
I
laps to go.
I specifically left at 10.
10 laps to go.
And you left
Okay.
a smidge before I did.
Yeah.
You're a slow walker.
So you walk out and you go into the land of not very much information, right? Like I'm trying to refresh my Twitter app. Obviously, I have my scanner on, but I walked into the fan zone and I was watching the, like the NASCAR vision, that I was standing with the fans watching the little TVs and who were drinking their margaritas and stuff. And like the little.
Did you get one?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I'm good. I was working, except now I obviously need this Busch latte.
Reminds me of college.
So I watched, I had my tweet actually ready to go because I knew it was going to take a while to type on my phone versus computer of Denny Hamlin winning the championship. Had that all ready to go.
Is that still saved in the drafts?
Yep, I think so. Let's see.
That's like the 2025 version of the T-shirt, like the Toronto Blue Jays.
Here it is. 16 days shy of his 45th birthday, the best driver to never win a NASCAR championship has that title erased while picking up another. Denny Hamlin wins at Phoenix and is the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
That's very wordy for a tweet. Can we talk about that? Like, it's supposed to be just kind of boom.
It's the championship tweet. It's got to be something better.
Like you're writing a novel?
Well, anyway, I ended up.
A little brevity is a little good.
I ended up only being able to type Kyle Larson wins the championship. And I didn't even type who won the race because I was watching the screen and I was watching, on the restart, you're watching the championship guys. And so I saw Blaney won, but I was like, I didn't even know how. I didn't pay attention to the finish. I couldn't really see, it's so much is going on. You're like, oh my gosh, holy crap. Like Larson just won out of nowhere. So yeah, obviously I was aware. You see the scoring pylon. Thank goodness this track still has one. And so, yeah, so after like, I don't know, probably an hour after the race, I was like, so what happened anyway?
Yeah.
So
I heard it was a good finish. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was.
I didn't see, I was in Hamlin's pit.
Oh, okay.
And I parked myself in front of a TV. Each pit box has TVs. And one of the TVs that they had in Hamlin's pit had his in-car camera. So I saw the entire sequence there through what he was seeing, which was fascinating to watch. And so I wasn't even, like, who won the race wasn't on my radar. It was just and I could see what was going on. And there was a moment it felt like Hamlin had a run initially, and maybe get a pass and then the box in, and Larson had a really great 3-wide move on the outside. And so, yeah, to your point, I had no idea.
Well, so anyway, I mean, you look at the overtime and Brad Keselowski is going to win. And even on the last lap, he is absolutely going to win the race. Like, he's got it. He's going to win his first race and snap the streak, after a winless season. And it's going to be like, holy crap, like, this is amazing. Wow, what a win for Keselowski in the season finale to send RFK into the offseason in a great note.
Which haven't won or race at all this year, by the way.
Yeah. And Blaney just almost comes out of nowhere in like the last corner in one of the best finishes of the whole year. Yeah. But we weren't even talking about it, or didn't even see it or pay attention to it in the actual race for the win, because we're so caught up with who finished third versus sixth. Yeah. We missed maybe the best whole finish of the year, the most dramatic finish of the year, one of them. Blaney, I mean, what a drive at the end there. And I don't know what happened with Keselowski, because of course we were caught up in.
Said he got a series of tweets.
I saw he posted on X.
One of his things he explained was he came off the corner, he's tied on old tires, and just got he thought he was kind of going to throw a block, I think.
No, he said he thought that Larson and Blaney were going to get together, and he was bracing for it, and he overdrove or something.
Yeah, he said he had old tires, he slid up.
Yeah. So anyway, we missed. Excuse me, I burped from my beard. Missing that one. Well, I blew the air that way, away from you. When you burp and blow I didn't blow it toward you. What? I didn't. I'm a more polite person.
You just completely missed.
I don't care anymore. It's been a long day. I really don't. But anyway, so Blaney ends up winning. And, so it's sort of the Penske philosophy all along. It's funny because Hendrick ends up winning the championship, and we kept saying, well, I don't know if Phoenix is going to be the Achilles heel for Hendrick. And sure enough, Toyota outran the Hendrick cars tonight.
Yeah. But I don't know if irony. We talked all year long, all playoffs about, man, if Penske gets to Phoenix, they're going to win the race, right?
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah. Sorry.
They did. Anyway, Hendrick did. It turns out we were correct. I obviously had no cars in the Hendrick, no Hendrick cars in the Final Four. So it looks to me pretty stupid to have a Hendrick car win the championship. But again, I think I was correct that they were the third out of the three. Or you can make an argument. I mean, maybe Hendrick was better than Penske, but Penske cars were up there. Clearly, though, it was a Toyota. It was a JGR Toyota that had the fastest car here today. Just didn't win the race. So anyway, Jordan, you've won the Good Race poll. Congratulations to you. Everybody told me at the tweet up today, I should have just lied on the podcast last week and said, man, this is I wasn't guessing 80%. After you already gave yours, I should have just gone a different way. But I was being honest. We did tie. There was no tiebreaker. So you won based on the tie. So it's already over. See you at the dunk tank in Daytona, I guess. But we still have to guess on this final Good Race poll of the season. We don't need to write it down.
I need to write it down.
Okay. Well, I don't even think the actual racing matters in this case. You're smiling like you wrote I won or 0 or something, or a smiley face. I guess you wrote a smiley face. You think you're so clever or something like that.
I am just happy. I'm gracious in winning. I humbly accept this victory. I want to thank the boys back at the shop. Gave me great picks all year. It's a grind of a season. 36, right? 38. It's hard. It's a really hard format to win a championship in. And I'm just really, really proud of the effort. And to win for the second time in 3 years, I get microphones falling apart here. It's kind of ruining my speech, but I'm really humbled. This means a lot.
Well, I'm guessing 20% because I don't even think it has anything to do with the race, but people are just going to vote on the outcome. So 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the beauty. So I did win, right? Just want to make sure I won. Okay. The beauty of a season-long points format is you can clinch in advance. So it doesn't even matter what I do with this thing. I can guess anything I want. I could start and park, right? So my guess this week is 0. That's what you get in a season-long points format. My brilliance wrapped up the championship in advance.
Congratulations. You know why? You deserved it.
Thank you. Can you say that again?
You deserve to win because you got it more. You got more right than I did.
One more time.
So, yeah, I've already said that. Well, you guess 0, so the lowest score ever, and I will guess 20 because I don't think people at all are going to vote in the race, so it doesn't really matter. So I know we touched on playoffs in general a little bit, but in terms of the other 2 races this weekend, man, excuse me.
Jesus.
Sorry, I just chugged this beer.
Be some professionalism, please. This is a highly rated, top.
It was till this episode.
Oh, well, if you wouldn't be drinking beer, we'd have a better show. Maybe are you drunk? Do you have a problem?
Connor Zilich obviously had a great season, and then we both picked Justin Allgaier.
I'm drinking water because I make good life choices.
Just to demonstrate, here's his open beer that he has.
You don't know that's mine. Your fingerprints are all over that.
God, I can't wait to finish this episode. Anyway, Connor Zilich, obviously had a big gut punch. As Jesse Love, again, and I felt bad for Jesse Love and that everybody's going to take shots at his victory, unjustified. Because look, I mean, let him celebrate. Jesse Love drove the race of his life. He showed up and he beat the dominant teams of the year. Like he absolutely deserved that. It's unfortunate. The format is what it was. 1 year too late, I guess, for Zilich to change it. But that was the outcome. So kudos to Jesse Love and RCR. I mean, they were hanging on at Martinsville. Didn't look good to even make it. Then they start the race the other night. It looked like they're way off, and you're like, oh man, this is not good.
It looked like it'd be a Justin Allgaier victory, and then it felt like the top 2 guys in that series were going to have a showdown, and then they just got better and better.
Meanwhile, in the truck race on Friday night, it looked like Corey Heim was going to be a disastrous, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. He saved NASCAR temporarily until the last 2 nights by his unbelievably the 7 wide, the restart there. Now he laid back a little bit, but they're going to swallow the whistle there. Of course, they're not going to call him for a penalty in that situation, for sure. And he took advantage of trying to push the issue a little bit, but he got a great, unbelievable restart, went all the way down to the apron. It was truly amazing and truly deserved the deserving winner. The most historic truck season ever, 12 wins, obviously a deserving person. So no matter what the format, he was going to come out on top. Although it was scary for a little bit. And the whole emotion the next day in the NASCAR garage was relief. Absolute relief. It was like, oh my God. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody you run into, oh, thank goodness that could have been really bad. Oh. And then later that night it was. So, yeah. But yeah. Well, any final thoughts, Jordan? Obviously, we've got more podcasts coming up before the end of the season here.
We do. Awards banquet too in a couple days, which is different.
Awards banquet.
No, I don't have anything else on my list.
Well, listen, I know a lot of you want us to talk about the NASCAR financials lawsuit stuff that just came out. We really would like to save that for an episode that we can take a deeper dive into it. I think it's fair to say. I mean, we did see, obviously, NASCAR made $103 million. They haven't settled yet, all that stuff. So we definitely want to talk about that. I was planning to just talk about championship stuff tonight. So,
NASCAR is very focused on trying to get a settlement done, and they were very close to accomplishing that goal over the past week.
So you don't think it's going to trial?
Oh, no, I didn't say that. Just because you want to accomplish a goal doesn't mean you're going to accomplish a goal. I don't have a prediction, and honestly, it feels like the winds change quite a bit in this, and we have seen that numerous times. I don't think anyone can reasonably make a prediction. I mean, there's even people that were telling me like this thing could start at trial and then you could have a settlement day 1 or day 2. So you don't know. All I can tell you is lawyers are going to get rich, man. Lawyers are going to get rich.
I think they already are.
We've reported this week they are.
Well, listen. Again, we're not ending the teardown season here. We're going to have a handful of episodes carry into the off season, and certainly if there is a trial, by the way, we will be having probably daily episodes covering the trial. But
we need like courtroom music too.
Yeah, we could certainly do that.
That'd be good.
But for now, in case you are not going to rejoin us for our off-season episodes, cheers to you guys.
Our friend John Edwards too, by the way.
And yeah, the reason we have these beers is because they have these in the media center. John Edwards, who was Kyle Larson's PR person, tragically passed away this year.
Great guy.
And he would have loved the outcome, obviously, tonight. So everybody in the media center had a toast to him. He was a big beer guy, although he was a big IPA guy. So, but anyway, cheers to you as well. Thanks for putting up with Jordan all year. And
this is why I have self-esteem issues.
Oh, well, you probably have a lot more reasons to do that than just this. But anyway, we do appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening as always, and keeping us going here. We obviously are really appreciative when we talk to you guys at the track, and how important you all the time coming up and talking about the podcast, and we really do appreciate that. And we're super, super grateful. Love what we do here. Thanks for supporting us at The Athletic as well. So we'll probably be back next week. But for now, thanks as always for listening, and we will talk to you next time on The Teardown. See you, everybody.